Hi, are you all okay? Here we are about to go into week 7 of lockdown. This is my third video on this subject, and I do this for two reasons. Partly because it helps me deal with my own uncertainties and anxieties in this current time, but also, of course, because I hope maybe I might be able to reach out and help one or even more than one other person feel just a little bit better and cope better during this horribly unpredictable patch. We're about to go into week 7, which seems extraordinary. And yeah, all the anxieties I think are still there. It's a mixture of feeling really rather nice and lovely and special time out. And it's like someone said, stop the world, I want to get off. And we finally have. Someone stopped the world, we've all got off. We've had time to breathe. And that's been wonderful in so many ways, but also a little claustrophobic, I think. But now at this point, there are new anxieties. The new anxieties are, is it time to come out of lockdown? Are we in a position where we can return to something approaching normality? And what is normality anyway? And how do we do this? And we've all become a little bit comfortable with lockdown, and the idea of going back into the wide world with lots of people around us is actually a bit terrifying. The idea of public transport, a workplace where you're working in with lots and lots of other people, it is now scary. So do we actually want to go back out, or is that going to be a new issue? Is actually having the confidence to go back out and try and live a sort of more normal life? And what this does is it brings to mind all sorts of issues which perhaps aren't just linked to lockdown, but they're just issues that I know I have to deal with. And one of these is, well, I've never been a fan of the phrase control freak. Maybe that's because I am one, I don't know. But life is evenly divided. If you had a graph like this, here are the things we can do something about, and here are the things we can do absolutely nothing about. In other words, things we can control versus things we can't control. And we are all, of course, this diagonal line somewhere between those two extremes. Now, the hardest thing to do, of course, is to let go of the things we cannot do anything about. And I think that's something we all have to do. But nonetheless, it still helps to remind ourselves, if we can't control it, the best thing we can do is to let go of it. I mean, for one, I'm a people pleaser. I like trying to please as many people as I can. And there have been people over the ages who've said, look, don't try and please all the people all the time, because you won't do it. You can only please some of the people some of the time. And whilst I accept that is of course true, I will no doubt die trying to please as many people as I can. I mean, why wouldn't I? Having said that, does that attitude to life always serve me best? Does that make me feel the best way I can about me? And I come back to a theory popularized by someone called Alfred Adler. And he was a modern psychologist who died in the 30s and took over from Freud and Jung. And what Adler does is he talks about the idea of separating tasks. In other words, my task, and your task too, but my task is to do the best I can by everybody. I can try and be loving, I can try and be warm, I can try and be helpful, I can try and be a better friend, try and be a better parent, try and be a better husband, try and do things right. And that's where my task ends. My task is not to get involved in how other people respond to that. That's their task. There will be people all over the place who don't like me for whatever reason, and that's something I can do nothing about. Now, do I like that? No, of course not. I would prefer everyone to like me. I think that's a fairly natural and human response. But the truth is, there will be people out there who don't. But that's not my task. My task is to only carry on being true to myself and the best me I can be. And in a sense, that's an example of letting go of the things I can't control and only controlling what I can. So in another sense, we can often in life, we can't control the things that happen to us. We can only choose how we act and respond to those things. And I think sometimes our emotions take over, and our response to a situation, including this current situation, is an emotional one. We go, oh, and we react emotionally, whereas maybe the best thing to do would be to take a beat and say, hang on a minute, does that response serve me best? Or is there a better way I could respond to this situation? And I think one of the things that governs whether we are able to respond having taken a beat rather than just emotionally is learning to recognize that there is a little voice in our head. And a little voice in our head, and I've said this before, that talks constantly at us, probably 24/7, every single hour of the day. And it says to us, we're not good enough. We're somehow falling short. Other people are better than I am. I know I'm going to screw up again. And everything negative that we wouldn't choose to believe about ourselves. And that little voice is banging away. And that often dictates our emotional response to a situation. I think the important thing to remember is that the little voice has probably nothing to do with who you really are. But we do forget this. We get terribly caught up in believing that that is who we are, and it isn't. So, dear friends, I think that's enough of me burbling on for another day, but stay safe and look after each other, and we all need friends. And one of the best things about this current situation is it seems to me we're all far more in touch with the people we love and care about than ever before. Speak to you soon. Bye.